I want that fateful adaptation we saw in the Bumblebee movie.
At least this version is actually shown to kick butt in battle. I always say respect the past, embrace the future. Why won't you accept that?
This is why we can't have any nice things. I mean, after all this time, they still designed the Reject to be looking this weird. I mean, what the hell? There's a new trailer out for Rise of the Beasts.
There is? Okay.
What do you mean, okay? Don't you want to see it?
No, I'm good.
Don't you want to see it with me? I only rewatched it like 16 times.
I'm pretty sure I can skip this one.
Please, for me.
Okay, whatever. But in all honesty, the movie is barely a month away from now. And a month is basically a microsecond for someone like me. Besides, they already showed us everything we needed to know. We saw all the interesting characters and places they were going to visit. I mean, what else can they show us?
Let them come.
Say again, CrankWave.
Okay, I take it back. I'm not gonna lie, this trailer looks totally radical, and it got me pretty hyped up.
So what were your thoughts after watching this trailer?
Well, I can definitely tell you that they went into full gear with this movie. I thought this new franchise was gonna take its time to build towards new events, but they were like, nah, screw that, we're throwing in the big guns.
Yeah, that's quite a bold move to introduce Unicron this quickly. I like that this time around he's acting on his own, and it is not just an entity waiting to be awakened. I mean, Unicron being Earth was an idea that worked in the Transformers Prime series, but they don't have to use that for every iteration.
Yeah, and it's also a quite faithful looking adaptation of Unicron. One that is very similar to the Unicron that was introduced in the animated movie from the 80s.
Things that catch their eye.
Well, right off the bat, we got a much better look at Optimus Prime from several angles, and you couldn't help but notice that his face bears a similar resemblance to his voice actor Peter Cullen. Like, I can definitely see that they incorporated facial features of Peter Cullen into Prime's face.
That is confirmed by the director to be a deliberate choice.
Gotcha. Speaking of Optimus Prime, I know the last time I said I preferred the Bumblebee design over the Rise of the Beast design, but now after seeing more footage of him, I can say that his design has grown quite on me, and that I think it looks pretty good. I think the slightly muted colors work very well during nighttime scenes. Another thing I noticed is this shot of the Terracons rising up from the Hudson River. It reminds me of that scene in the first Pacific Rim movie of the Jaegers being dropped in the Miracle Mile. What are the things you noticed?
There is one actually, and it ties back to Revenge of the Fallen.
Listen, Isaac, I like you very much, but if you somehow in all of this still manage to find a way to show me Devastator's wrecking balls, I'm out.
No, it's not about Devastator this time around. I can assure you, it's not. It's about a specific line that Sam Witwicky said in Revenge of the Fallen.
This isn't my war.
I fear it soon will be. This is not our war.
This looks like a continuity nod from Michael Bay movies, in the sense that it almost looks like this was done to show us what kind of mindset Prime used to have in the past versus how he thinks in the present, and that he doesn't want anyone else to make those same mistakes again.
That would be indeed very interesting if we saw something of that in a movie. Anyway, moving on to other things. I've noticed that some of the CGI still looks a little bit unfinished. Like in this shot where Prime doesn't really blend well with the environment, and that the lighting is not completely on point. Also, in this shot and some other scenes, the CGI still doesn't have any motion blur to it, which is something that is essential to making CGI look convincing.
It's possible that those scenes were added later in production. Either way, it doesn't look bad to me.
I said it was unfinished CGI. I never said it was bad looking CGI. To me, it becomes more clear that this movie wants to go more to the route of visually interesting and appealing CGI, rather than photorealistic CGI like we saw in the Michael Bay movies. But that's something that can work pretty well in its own right.
I agree.
Were there things you liked about this trailer?
Well, I like that the humans get some upgrades this time around that give them an edge in battle. Like in this frame where Anthony Ramos, his character, has an exosuit, which is a concept that was introduced in the 1986 movie. This way, they put the humans more on the level of the Transformers, rather than pulling the Transformers down on the level of the humans. In the Michael Bay movies, the Decepticons could get seriously injured by small caliber firearms. Even though it was explained why this was possible, it still kinda made them look like wimps. But I think it's also time to address the elephant in the room. And that is, what did they do to my boy Wheeljack? What the hell were they thinking in the design department? What is up with people to model Wheeljack after every nerd stereotype known to man? I mean, suspenders? Really? Were they trying to make a live-action Wheeljack, or were they trying to make a live-action Urkelbot? Because that's what he looks like to me.
Well, he has those ears.
I don't want any damn ears. I want that fateful adaptation we saw in the Bumblebee movie.
At least this version is actually shown to kick butt in battle. I always say respect the past, embrace the future. Why won't you accept that?
This is why we can't have any nice things. I mean, after all this time, they still designed Wheeljack to be looking this weird. I mean, what the hell?
Okay, let's put this dispute behind us and wait until the movie comes out. Was there something you did like about this trailer?
I liked Scorch. In fact, he kinda sounds like you. Can you do your Scorch impression?
Okay, let me see what I can do. In the end, everything you cared for will be consumed.
That's pretty spot on for me.